welcome to another episode of Comics Interdias, where we talk about comic news and some books we've read this week. I'm your host, Adam, and I'm here with my co host, Hector.
Hey guys.
How are we doing this week, Hector?
Well, last week you got sick, right? How's your cough going?
It got better.
Yeah. I mean, you sound better. So that's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
got a lot better.
And then for me, I've got a shoulder thing going on right now still. I and because of it, I haven't had any sleep. My doc says that my left arm is having trouble because of a tennis elbow, which is kind of funny because I haven't been playing any sports or working out at all much right now, so I don't know what he's talking about.
You don't think it was the painting because you started painting my guys may have
No, because I paint right-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so no, and I'm not holding it really hard or anything like that with my left hand or anything like that. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going. He says that he thinks what it is that if I'm like working hard on the keys on the keyboard, or
Yeah.
if I'm drawing or something like that, but that would be my right hand. Or if you're sleeping on, and he thinks it's because I'm sleeping on my side and it's causing a pinch in my nerve on my neck. So I don't know. I'm just tired of it right now.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about sleep. I had like
Yeah.
my sleep app was my CPAD was done for like 2 weeks. I was waiting for a new hose because it had a hole, and it was
Oh.
I haven't been sleeping well, and Margot hasn't been sleeping well because I snore so loud
Oh shoot.
like a train, and she's mad in the morning, and I'm half asleep,
Right.
and it finally came in on Monday, so it's been like 2 weeks. So now it's
Jesus.
like a what's that?
No, I was just surprised it took that long.
Well, I called. They said, "Oh, I'll be there Thursday." That was so we did it the first. They're like, "Oh, I'll be there Thursday," and nothing happened. I called them. Oh, I forgot to hit send or something. Like something, they forgot to do something,
God.
and that was a week later. I'm like, dude, I can't. Like, I'm not sleeping, and so another week, and then it finally came, and I finally got some really good sleep. That machine, just that constant airflow going in, making me get a lot of sleep. So I feel a lot better.
I think
You
that
know that.
Jen needs one of those.
Oh, really? Dude, it's like the
Yeah.
best sleep ever, man. It's a little swampy in your nose, but it's okay.
Oh
You
yeah.
know.
Did it take a while for you to get used to it?
Yeah, it kind of it does take a while. Maybe if you have anxiety, it kind of triggers it a little bit.
Oh.
And if it has a hole or anywhere, it's like it's leaking water somewhere. If it's old, it's that constant flow is broken, and you're kind of trying to keep up. Your breathing is trying to keep up with the machine, and that's what it makes you hard to sleep with. So anybody that snores, you guys should really go check out a sleep app. CPAT saves marriages.
Yeah, I guess it would, huh? Yeah.
Save marriages. Okay, just letting you know right now. Nothing worse than a angry wife in the morning because she didn't get any sleep. So, anyhow, this is your first episode of the year of 2023, bro. This is the
Yeah,
first one
that's
for
right,
you,
huh? Yeah, because you did it with Ben. Because
Ben
I had to
Davis.
go. I had to go to
Yep.
my dad's place and try to help out with my dad, and he didn't end up even going into surgery, so that was kind of pointless. It was all a wasted trip.
Yeah, but you didn't know that when you guys were taking them. So,
Yeah, no, we didn't.
oh, oh,
No.
good man. So I had I wanted to do some New Year's stuff where I wanted to read more of the older stuff. I kind of wanted to challenge myself to reading more of the other stuff and stuff like that. I'll maybe on the next show if you have any kind of goals you want to do for the for comics or anything like that, you let us know on the next show or not.
I got some old comics I'd like to read again or review. That'd be kind of cool. I have the first trade for, I think it's the first 10 issues of Justice League International.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it was an old comic. It was pretty good. So
Yeah, because
I'll
I
check it out.
haven't read anything other than 90s and up. So
Oh, really?
I'm looking to go into some of the older stuff. So The
Well,
last episode I reviewed, Amazing Spider-Man, the Last Hunt
yeah.
with Craven. It was
I thought that
crazy.
was funny because, like, I was like, well, I lent it to my cousin, I mean, my niece, and then she got it back, and I was like, if you want to read this, I got it back. And you're like, I just reviewed that.
Read that, dude. It was actually that's a really good comic. Kind of blew me
Yeah.
away. I don't know why I thought 80s or were not as radical like that. So
Well, how old were you in the 80s? I mean, when you were getting
well,
into, when did you get into comics? How old were you?
90. So X-Men #1 with Jim Lee. So
Oh,
uh
really?
90. Well, I was reading Spawn 2. No, that's the
Mm.
first comic book I ever really remember going in. I was in this giant line. I don't even know how I got there. It was in Orange
Uh-huh.
comic book store. I was in this giant line. They were giving them free X-Men #1, Jim Lee,
Jesus.
and that was like 90, maybe 90s, 91. I was 11.
I was still in the army.
Yeah, because I was born 1980, so I wasn't really reading comics in the 80s.
We're 10 years apart. I didn't realize that.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, because I was born
Yeah.
1970.
So you were in the army.
In 1987 until 1994.
Okay, okay. So when
Yeah.
I was 7, you were in there.
Yeah.
I was playing with my GI Joes, and you were actually a GI Joe. Anyhow,
Yeah, I was
thought that was
busy getting
cool.
shot at.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's, I guess, jump into the news, huh?
Do it.
Yeah. Oh, before I get into that, I have a lot of the Marvel Essentials as well. So if you ever want to see like the origins of a character, I have Captain America, Iron Man, the Avengers, and of course Thor. So I don't have any of the Marvel Essentials for X-Men, sorry.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start into the news. First one is a sad one, which I totally forgot to actually mention to you before we were going to get started. Our friend that we did the review for, I mean, the interview with In the Kitchen, Darren Watts, he does a podcast or did a podcast with Steven Tasker called Explain This Comic Guys. On the 31st of December, he had a sudden cardiac arrest. It sounds like it happened in the middle of the night and he passed away.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Sad.
so last week was the very last. I mean, they had some previous recordings that they had on record that they were trying to get through. The current ones that they were working on are called the summer blockbusters. So they detailed like, okay, so the first one that is considered a blockbuster, a summer blockbuster, is like Crisis on Infinite Earths or The Secret Wars. The Secret Wars came out first. They happened to beat them by a year, but they went through. They called it the Summer Event Comics, and there were 3 parts that they had. I think that they were going to do a fourth one, but of course he passed away. And this last one, part 3, was the one that they had just posted on Wednesday, I think it was. That's the last one, and I don't think that they're gonna post any more to the site. I was kind of
Hmm.
considering contacting Stefan or Steven to find out if he'd be interested in maybe doing an interview and talking about Darren a little bit. But I don't know if it would be appropriate right now because he's kind of everyone that is Darren's friend is kind of mourning him, and I mean they should be.
Wow.
He was a nice guy, and I think it would be kind of hard. So maybe in the future,
Yeah.
um,
That's
they
too
can talk
bad,
about
man.
him.
Right before the new year. I mean, any time's bad. Ah,
Yeah.
man, that's sad.
And on top of that, he was working on a Kickstarter that was due to release in February. We were gonna sit down and interview him for that,
Man,
and he passed away. So he
goes
was in
out
his
to
50s. This great guy. He had bought and ran the Hero System, which was really nice role playing game. Uh, so I think that was 5th edition. So he's a role player and also a comic book enthusiast and a writer. So posted a lot of novels. He's a great guy.
prayers go out to his family.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Okay. So the next thing we got is that Sandman is Peter Friedlander discusses what took so long with the Sandman season 2 decision, teasing why Netflix isn't calling it a season 2. This was posted on January 11th by Ray Fluke from Bleeding Cool Comics. Sorry, my brain's kind of fried right now. A fan's mind turns towards speculating about the second season of EP and co-writer Neil Gaiman's Good Omens, EP co-writer and showrunner Alan Heinberg from Wonder Woman, and EP and co-writer David S. Goyer's The Sandman. We're getting some fresh insight into the decision-making process from Netflix perspective, courtesy of David Freilander, Netflix's head of UCAN scripted TV. Quote, we wanted to spend time to get creativity aligned around what we would be doing next, best experience with the Sandman. And because of that, we wanted to spend the time with Alan Heinberg and Neil Gaiman and really talk through and be thoughtful about what the approach should be, because season 1 is also very thoughtful and intentional. Freeland explained during the recent interview with Variety. Quote, so that was really what took the extra time, is to get our ducks in a row. But things got really interesting when the topic of why season 2 isn't actually being called season 2. Freelander did have a very interesting response in the theory. He said there aren't decisions that haven't been made, but we are considering batching approaches. Everything's on the table when it comes to Sandman. It's an innovative TV show. So could that include bonus episodes as we had with The Dream and Thousand Cats and Calliope on the end? The Sandman always follows his own path. Freelander teased, I just lost my place. Whoops. I hate when that happens. That's what we're trying to honor. The show, I think, A Dream of a Thousand Cats, Calliope. I do really believe that the show, I think, was so popular because it was such a discovery and it was such an invention. That's what we're trying to honor as we continue to tell this story, and it shouldn't follow any path other than its own. You can read the rest of the article. I actually read most of it to you, but you could read the rest of it over on Bleeding Cool. Again, that was January the 11th by Ray Fluke. Thanks again for your reporting, Ray. What do you think, Adam?
Well, I don't care what it's called. I'm interested in watching more Sandman. I mean, I know the second trade is about him taking over. I believe he's taking over Hell. I mean, well, Hell, the Morning Star wants him to take over Hell so that but in the show it's a she, can take a break. So I remember that from the second trade, the second volume of Sandman. I don't know if they're gonna go that way, but whatever they do, I mean, I love the show. I love the actor. Kind of feels kind of confusing. They don't want to call it season 2. They just I don't know why wouldn't they call it season 2, but I don't know.
One thing that worries me is it gives me the impression that there might be possible that they're not going to. Well, one thing with season 1 that they've already said happened was that they did a little bit of a little bit of here, a little bit of there from the comic series run. And I have a feeling that they're going to do more so with that in the second one because of the way that they're looking at the approach on it, that they're batching decisions. So
See that?
it feels to me like they're going to be like kind of doing a shotgun effect with, but here's a little bit of number 11, here's a little bit of 15, you know.
But it rode it was so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't take away from the show. It didn't really confuse anybody.
Right.
Only the people that read all the volumes would know that, oh, wait a minute, this is volume 5, this is volume 2, whatever.
Yeah.
The way the show worked, it was a great series, a season
Mm-hmm.
of episodes, you know. And I thought, the Sandman, I just hope they keep going and keep making more. So I don't care what they do, just keep doing what they're doing. As long as Neil Gaiman's in there, I believe.
$80,000. What's that?
I believe if Neil Gaiman is in there, he will be doing. It'll do well. The show will do
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, he will. Okay, so $80,000 of graded comics were stolen from a Canadian comic book store. According to their social media, Captain Comics of Brantford, Ontario, in Canada, have been victims of a theft, including a $24,000 Fantastic Four #1. This was posted on January the 9th by Rich Johnston. Ontario, Canada, posting the sad news on social media earlier today. So that was the 11th. I mean the 9th, I'm sorry. That they have been victims of a small smash and grab. They posted the news as well as what had been taken from the graded comics in case anyone tries to sell you something that like a following job.
Yeah.
So they quoted, "Alrighty, at about 12:45 this morning, someone took a saw to our front door and busted in, stealing $74,350 in graded comic books inside of a 45-second shopping spree. No one was here, and we all are physically okay. We just need a new door. The outpouring of support so far has been overwhelming. Thank you all. See the below list of books with the serial numbers. The police are working hard on this, and hopefully we can see these he said something. Brought to justice quickly. We are in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, about an hour from Toronto. And the biggest comics that look to have been stolen were Fantastic One. It was a 2.5 CGC and then a Fantastic Four number 5. The Fantastic Four number 1, the 2.5 was valued at $24,000 and number 5 is valued at $5,500. Then the next big one, Fantastic Four number 5.5 CGC with Stan Lee's print on it for 13.5. There's some big numbers in here. A lot of them are 2000s, 3000s. Here's a 6000 Amazing Spider-Man number 3, a 3.5 CGC with Stan Lee's print on it, 67.50.
I mean, I don't know why they would keep them in their store if it's not in a safe or anything. I mean, I
I
can
don't
see them
understand that either.
displaying them, but like they could just break in and steal everything, and it's just not very smart to keep it in your store. Keep it somewhere safer. And
Yeah.
if someone wants to buy it, then you would bring that certain, comic there. And it's going to be hard to sell those things because the CGCs have those numbers, those serial numbers, and you can look it up like whatever number and see that, oh, okay, this is a 2.5, and then they'll mark it stolen or something. So
Mhm.
whoever's buying it can always look up the numbers and see what's going on at CGC if these are legit comics and if
Mhm.
there's any kind of
Well, the question
stolen.
is whether or not those people will care. You know what I mean?
That's true too. I mean, they'll probably sell it to somebody that I don't care. I just want it. So that's too bad. But I really don't think you should keep thousands and thousands of dollars of comic books that in your. It's like keeping money in your underneath your bed.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, one store that I went to a while back, I don't remember where this was, so don't quote me exactly where it was, but what they did was when it came to those big ones, they made a page, like a printed like cardstock page. They like took a photo of it and then they put it in a box and they put it on a wall like behind a frame. So that was like to tell people that it's available for buy if pay for it, but it's just a piece of paper on a wall.
Don't steal
And
it.
yeah,
Don't break my window.
but I mean, they break in and stuff and you got a piece of paper and that's it, On I looked on the Facebook wall for their wall and the last post that they put on it was on the 10th. They're showing the update that they cleaned it up. It looks like they did a really good on cleaning up the place, but they're still waiting for for information on the crime.
Yeah, some
That
of these shops don't have really good. I remember a store down the street called Dear Mr. Fantasies. It was a Magic the Gathering card store, real small. They had no security. They had no alarms. The guys came through the back. They took thousands of dollars worth of cards. A lot of old, top seven. The Power Seven cards
is
and
well,
those stuff you can't really trace back, right?
it's hard
Because
to trace it back. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't think that this case is going to be resolved anytime soon.
I don't think so. That's too bad. Hopefully, he had insurance on him.
Yeah.
I'm
If he's
hoping.
a Yeah, if he has a good store policy, that would be probably a good idea.
Too bad.
Yeah. It's a shame, but it needs to be kind of reported because
Yeah.
I mean, who knows, maybe it'll get circulated out there and someone will like go, hey, that guy just had that, or something. Maybe I should
Hanging
report
on
it.
his wall.
Yeah. Batman the Doomed Came to Gotham trailer puts Bruce Wayne in danger on Screen Rant by Lucas Shio, I'm sorry. The Batman, the Doom That Came to Gotham trailer puts Bruce Wayne in serious danger as he faces off against a cult of otherworldly monsters. The trailer for Batman the Doom That Came to Gotham shows off just how dangerous life is in Gotham City. Based on a comic of the same name that is set in the 1920s, Bruce Wayne will need to put his skills to the test as he faces off against mystical enemies in a dark and somehow a drearier version of Gotham. How is that possible? That faces a series of otherworldly enemies drawn by a demonic cult. Sounds kind of very Call of Cthulhu. The Batman, the Doom That Came to Gotham, promises to add more horror to his world, just to make things interesting. Warner Brothers Entertainment has released the Batman, the Doom That Came to Gotham trailer on their WB website. On their YouTube site, which displays every horrific element about to strike the city.
This is an animated movie.
I'm sorry,
Animated.
yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say, I'm just
Okay.
trying to breathe here. Yeah, it's a animated piece. It looks like it's a little better than Japanese animated quality. It's not like that. There's some nice shadowing that goes to it. Looks like
Check out the trailer.
it won't get a theatrical run, and it will instead have digital, 4K, and Blu-ray releases on March the 28th. Batman will be facing off against recognizable faces, including Etrigan the Demon, a well-known Constantine character, and Killer Croc.
I always like the animated stuff. I don't think
Yeah,
I don't think the voice for Batman. I don't think it's probably gonna be someone different, right? I'm pretty sure.
let's see.
I think it's
The
gonna
voice
be.
actors for the Doom That Came to Gotham will also have some serious experience. David Guintoli from Grimm will be playing Batman, while Tati Gabrielle, the 100, appears as Kylie Kane. Gideon Adlon as Oracle. Christopher Gorham, the Lincoln lawyer, as Green Arrow. Jason Marsden is the Brave and the Bold Batman.
That's cool.
So
I'll
as
watch it.
Dick, yeah. So the the names in here are pretty big. So it looks like they're are going to have some pretty interesting. Ra's al Ghul will be in this as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll send you the link in a second.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the Doom That Came. I think that I'm gonna try to see if I can find us more news regarding more comic releases. I know that we've been doing mostly studio releases, and I think that that's not really it's initially what I thought would be the great thing, but I think that comic releases are a big thing too that we should be talking about. I think you and I were also discussing doing a what's coming in March, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
like a preview type show where that's what we're talking about, right? The previews
yeah.
where we look through the preview books. A lot of you may not know, but the Marvel, DC, and then they come out with their own preview books where they preview months ahead so that
Hmm.
stores can order, or you can order with your store, or they have a giant preview book with everything. It's like 1,000 pages of Image and Boom and all those great studios and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we were looking to maybe look at your top 10, what you're actually looking forward to, and so that we can give a kind of a preview to some of our listeners that, hey, we're looking forward to this, and this looks pretty cool. I mean, look out for this, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's
Yeah, okay, so really quickly, the new merchandise for the Flash reveals the first look at Dark Flash, and also it gives us a little look at some of the characters that are going to be in there. But the Dark Flash looks pretty crazy. If you go to the DC Verso Medias, I think it's, or Medias, Medias. I'm sorry, Medias sounds better. It shows on January the 19th at 9:54 a.m. They show four figures. Batman's figure. It looks like he's wearing the original 82 Tim Burton Batman version, and then the Flash outfit, and then the Flash Youngberry, and then there's Dark Flash. And a lot of people are pretty surprised, apparently, the Dark Flash is going to be in that movie. I know we're not really looking forward to seeing the movie, but there are people out there that want to see it, and to see how it well it does or does not do.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We will see.
Yeah.
We will
Uh,
see.
Jared Leto has been announced and to come into and be in Tron 3. Oof. Yeah, Tron is Disney is moving forward with Tron 3 starring Jared Leto at long last with Pirates of the Caribbean 5's director joining the project. Disney relaunched the Tron franchise in 2010 with Tron Legacy starring Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, and Jeff Bridges. The movie proved to be a decently sized hit, earning 400 million worldwide. However, the studio has struggled for years to get a sequel off the ground. Original director Joseph Kosinski had plans to make Tron Ascension, but they never transpired. Jared Leto then joined the effort to make Tron 3 in 2017. Was at that point described as a reboot for the franchise, but also stalled through development. And that was on Screen Rant from Cooper Hood.
I'm not really a Tron fan.
I enjoy Tron, but this last movie, while I did like the effects and stuff, I was just like, okay, that's cool.
Boring. It was boring to me. I was like, oh my god, this is how long this movie.
I think that the pacing was wrong for it.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. But a lot of people love it. That's cool. But I probably
Oh.
will not see the third one when it comes out.
You know,
I
the
will
thing
not.
that's sad is that Jared Leto is not a draw for
Not
anything.
anymore.
He's
Not
not.
anymore.
I don't know of anybody who ever like thinks to themselves, "I want to see this movie because Jared Leto's in it," and I feel bad about that because he seems like a nice guy, you know.
He's the guy
Yeah.
that played Joker, right? The new Joker, the horrible Joker, Jalen.
Suicide Squad Joker, yeah,
Yeah, horrible.
the
And then he
horrible
played
Joker.
a horrible Joker, and then he played
Yeah, in
Morbius.
Morbius, yeah.
Yeah, he has like every movie. It's just bombs. Poor
Yeah,
guy.
unfortunately he's that guy. Yeah, the one that everything that he touches dies.
Nice. It's just so.
It
Of course,
isn't.
I mean that's sad, but he seems like a nice guy, like you said. But
It's unfortunate. I think
uh,
he was a musician too. He was pretty good as a musician.
I don't know. Probably his band bombed too. I don't know.
God. Oh
anyways,
God.
anyways.
All right. Let's get into reviews.
Yeah, you know what I picked? I actually wrote up another one I didn't tell you about, Scarlet Witch #1. So I'll start off with that one,
Oh,
and then we'll go.
Scarlet Witch #1.
Yeah, I actually wrote up a review for that one, so I forgot I had it ready.
Oh,
So
yeah. Go ahead.
this is Scarlet Witch #1, done by Steven Orlando, art by Sarah Ellie. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it looks like what it says. So this is Scarlet is out to correct some of her wrongs that she's done. She has a shop now, kind of like a bookstore type thing. And she has this door that's called the Last Door, and it's made for anyone that finds themselves at their lowest and needs help will come through this door. Her brother shows up. We got Quicksilver, and they have I like how they have their bantering, brother and sister bantering. It's pretty funny in this book. We get our first customer that from the Last Door, the Corruptor, which I don't think it's the Purple Man. I don't know if it's the Purple Man, but he's blue in this one, so has taken over this town. This woman comes in and says, "I need help." Everyone in town does what he says, so kind of like the Purple Man, and see him as something else, except for the character that came to the door named Janeth, who wears she has like this worry stone on her, like a necklace, given to her by her father. This stone repels spells and even Scarlet's power. So that's pretty. This is a really strong talisman. If even for Scarlet, like wow, this is even affecting my power towards it. So Scarlet has an idea that if she polishes stone, it may protect everyone in the town. I'm sorry, but it will take forever. But good thing Quicksilver is there, and he polishes his stone, and so that when she walks through, Scarlet would visit the town. Well, before that happens, Scarlet visits the town and is attacked by all the townspeople who were told by the Corruptor, but she puts them all to sleep. Corruptor makes Scarlet remember all her bad, so he kind of like, I need you to remember, what you did before. So she's starting to remember, and she owns up to it all and turns him into stone. and she put a little spell on him. So if releasing down to, to break the spell, the entire town, like the town, has to forgive him, and he'll come out of this stone.
Oh,
So anyhow, it was we get this, like, I guess it was a okay first issue, just introducing some of the characters and where Scarlet is. It was a very easy read, and nothing crazy happened until the very end. I almost forgot about that. And I think at the very end of this comic, it sold for me. I
hmm.
liked it, and I'm not gonna spoil it because it's a pretty good ending, cliffhanger. So if you guys are interested, pick it up. I give it a maybe a 3.7, 3.5 tortillas,
Right on.
and you guys should pick it up.
The Corruptor's first appearance was in Nova #4, September 1976. His power is that he has the ability to basically remove your inhibitions towards whatever your wantonness is. He fights Thor, and Nova saves him.
Okay.
He has a toxin kind of like the Purple Man. So
Okay.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
blue, right?
yeah. He is blue.
He is blue. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's cool.
his main character's name is Jackson Day.
Jackson Day.
Yeah.
It's a good comic. I'll probably read number two. The art's really good. It kind of reminds me of Ramos's art, but the way I know a lot of people had a different. They didn't like it because she was very tan,
Oh,
and Quicksilver was very tan.
that's odd.
So I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there, but she was kind of tan with blue eyes. So I don't.
Blue
I
eye?
did. It didn't really affect the way I liked the drawing. I didn't really affect the way I read it. So
That's odd.
anyhow,
I thought she had green eyes. I don't know. Well, it sounds like a good comic. Okay, for me, my first one is Stargirl: The Lost Children #2. This is a continuation to the one that I did before a couple weeks ago. By Detective Comics. The writer is Jeff Johns. The pencil is Todd. And now it colors is Matt Hearns. Letters is Rob Lee. The actors in this one is Stargirl and Red Arrow. Stargirl and Red Arrow, in their search for Wing, find out that many of the sidekicks from the past are missing. And what's worse, no one in the world seems to remember they even existed. They find a map that Duncan Dunbar left when he was possibly going to go to where he was possibly going to go. Sorry, messed up that. Story. The Stargirl and Red Arrow go to Oliver's cave to follow up on their leads they found regarding the island where the sidekicks may have been involved or lost to. Red Arrow points to Starfish Island, where she was brought to by kidnappers and almost turned into an assassin to be used against Green Arrow without his knowledge. The two decide to use a sailing boat to the Arrow Cave to go to the island and try to save the kids that have been stolen. They head into the Diablo's Triangle to the spot on Dunbar's map and shows an island that Dunbar didn't rule out in his search for the kids. Well, the good news is that they did find the island. The bad is that their boat is destroyed in the process, and when they arrive on the beach, they feel like their memories are confused and fuzzy. What's going on here? Art. The art is well stylized throughout. There are some facial anatomy issues from time to time. The coloring is good for the art. The inking could use some sections where the lining to differentiate items and people were needed. Some shadows to kind of give somebody a more 3D effect. Shadows are barely made though, using thatching instead of color holds in some areas, which I didn't really. I found to be kind of flattening on the pages, and that wasn't good for me. The written dialogue is well done. The layout is simple to follow. The writing is rather well thought out. I enjoyed the way that the story was progressing so far. I hope it continues down the way that it's going, and it gives me kind of a vibe of like the island of Dr. Monroe. I don't know. Moreau. It's a 4 out of 5 stars for me. Tortillas, sorry.
yes. I picked up Avengers: War Across Time, and this is a oversized comic, and it didn't feel like one. It felt like the story was so good that I wanted more, which I'm glad I'm going to get more. This is done by Mr. Paul. We said it before, Livitz.
Levitz
Rivets,
or
and
Levitt.
drawn by Alan Davis. This is done in a old school art, like the old school Avengers. You know, you got Captain America with the big boots, and
The chainmail tunic.
yes, yes, and
Yeah.
it's awesome because when I read it, I'm like, is this like a new comic or is this like a reprint of one of the older comics? And it's a new one, but they drew it and they wrote it like in the old comics. And
Wow.
you have the Avenger team, you have Thor, Ant-Man, Wasp, Captain America, and Iron Man. And we have see, I don't this is issue number one, and I don't know if there was an issue zero because we have Kane in
hmm
this book, and he's mad about something he had done previously, but that we don't really see in this comic. But he has made a robot for the Hulk, and Kane has somehow in time
hmm
got a hold of the Hulk's heart, and
Oh.
he puts it in this robot, and so this robot is looking like the Hulk, and the Hulk just goes out on a punching spree, and you have the team just an all out fight against the Hulk, and or the cyborg Hulk. They don't know that, but they think it's actually the real Hulk, and they're trying to talk him down, and he's not having it, and it's just the interactions between everybody in the teamwork and them getting their butt kicked in the beginning, and then coming back. Iron Man's in their old suit, and it just it felt really cool. You got Wasp and Ant Man; they're in love. In their little side marks. It was a great book. Kept the story going and kept me engaged for I think it's like 60 pages or something like that. And that's pretty tough. When I see a thick book, a thick comic book,
Uh-huh.
kind of be like, oh no, I got to read a lot of other comic books. I got to get, I read, I try to read about 10 to 12 comic books a week. And this felt great. This was awesome.
You
And
know,
go ahead.
other than the robot Hulk part and the heart being put into the body, this sounds like Avengers number 2.
Really?
Yeah, because okay, in Avengers number 1, the story is that they think that Hulk is a bad guy. Or I think it was in that one. It might have been, yeah, a whole bunch of people are like Thor, Iron Man, and Ant-Man and Wasp hear of a rampaging creature. So they go and they end up fighting Hulk, but they don't understand that Loki was involved. In the second one, they do the same thing. They fight
Interesting.
Hulk, and he's like, or they believe that he's possibly in some crime, and he's like, "Well, what the heck? You guys don't trust me," and he leaves the Avengers. So
Oh, okay.
he was only in for like 2 issues, and then he left, and then he comes back later, way later. So
Interesting.
I don't know. It sounds almost like the same thing. I wonder if
Yes.
they were
I
taking
don't
a
know.
different spin on it or something.
It was a great book. The way they beat him is they take him down to down the subway and they figure out that he's a robot, so they put him on the rails and they shock him,
Uh-huh.
over to his circuits, falls down, they blow a hole through his chest. They figure out, oh my god, it's actually his heart. And they end it with Kane laughing, and he come to me if you wish, Avengers. Kane has the time to prepare centuries of it.
Wow.
So great issue. I should let you borrow it because I know that you would probably enjoy this one.
Yeah. Wait, is it Kane or Kang?
The time dude, Kane,
Yeah,
Kane,
Kang.
Kane. Yeah,
You mean the one that's in the movie that's coming up right now, right?
yeah. The
The
Loki,
guy with the purple sides of the
purple
head and
face.
then a blue face?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
purple. Yeah, that's Kang.
Kane.
Yeah.
That's what was they saying?
You're saying like Raising Canes or Candy Cane. It's not Candy Cane, it's
My
Kang.
bad.
Like
Kane.
Genghis, like, yeah, like Clang but without the L. Okay. Okay, well that
Kane.
makes more sense because we do have a Kane as well in Marvel, and that's a whole different character. Okay, Strange Academy Finals number 3 by Marvel Comics. The writer is Scotty Young. Pencils is Humberto Ramos. Colors is Edgar Delgado. And then letters is VC's Clayton Cowles. The actors in this is Doyle, Daly, Toth, Gus, German, Alvy, Zoe, Calvin, Emily, Eric, Desi, Jen Lafitte, Jericho, Dr. Voodoo, Papa Mud, and Catriona is in it, but no Doctor Strange. Premise: when the students of the Strange Academy learned their old friend and classmate Calvin Morris had gone into life threatening trouble with the wish dealing magician Gaslamp, they knew they had to act. The rescue mission soon turned into a fight for all of their lives against Gaslamp and concluded in a magical explosion decimating several blocks of the French Quarter in New Orleans. Meanwhile, Emily Bright and her remaining dropouts, Desi and Eric, have been laying in wait and in the dark dimension. What schemes do they have in store for the hallowed halls of the Strange Academy? Story: we open the story in New Orleans in the French Quarter, where some tourists are looking at a house haunted by a pirate, quotation marks, and discover how right they are as Jean Lafitte, the privateer, sails through the sky and scares them away. He apparently is late for a very important meeting with the sorcerers of New Orleans: Jericho, Papa Mud, Catriona, Dr. Voodoo, Mrs. Hazel. As they consider the consequences of what happened in the previous issue, where the kids blew up the French Quarter, Voodoo informs them that the kids had arranged a carnival to help pay for the damages, and we find ourselves at the carnival shortly afterwards. And in multiple panels, we see the kids spicing up the carnival with magic to make it more enjoyable for the crowd. It's really the shots that they did, the panels that they did, made me go, I wish that there was a carnival like that out here. Suddenly, a screech for help rings out, and a portal shows up with a huge monster attacking the carnival, as you would do in a Marvel comic. Everyone springs into action. Will it be enough to stop the invaders? Art. The art very stylized with very long, thin arms and legs, while having very good facial expressions and interesting deformations to the anatomy, which works with the magical element of the storyline. Word balloons and coloring is well done. Ink thatching adds to the artist, penciling very well. The choice of colors is good too. The dialogue is better than the storyline. The storyline is interesting. It's just very simple. It follows along its layout well, though it's just straight to the story, straight to the fighting. What strikes me well is that even at issue 3, I was able to pick up the storyline and the character's impact on previous issues for pretty quickly, which doesn't happen a lot in other comics. So even from issue number 3, I'm able to get up to speed and get going. So then that way I can get part of the story and maybe even start picking up 1 and 2 later. For me, that this was also a 4 out of 5, basically because of its ease of easement into the comic and being able to pick up where I left off. I mean, Strange Academy Finals is not something that people would normally go looking for. It's a young kids getting into magic kind of situation with a kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of high school drama situation that's going on the outside. This is a good comic. I liked it.
Forgot to give the score for my Adventures War Across Time. That's a 4.8. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably keep this to one of my top 10
Wow.
for 2023 right now. So that's another thing I'm gonna be keep an eye on.
A record.
A record on the end of the year show. Like, hey, you know, these are the top writers, stuff like that. We'll talk about that later. But anyhow, the artist for the Academy, was that Ramos?
Yeah, Humberto Ramos. Yeah.
Love that guy. That guy's artist. I love that guy's art. I met him a couple times.
Oh yeah.
Really nice guy. I met him at cons. You know, there's a funny story. I saw him at Frankincense.
Uh-huh.
And well, they had a show at Frankincense, and I paid like $10 to get an autographed, and I gave him Supreme Spider-Man #1. He looks at it and he's all like, I didn't draw it. he drew he drew on that series, but he didn't draw that first issue. And he looked at it and he goes, well, you still want me to sign it? And I go, sure. That's so stupid, man. It's so dumb. But I did get a couple Spider-Mans at the San Diego. I had seen him, and I got a couple Spider-Mans signed by him, so that was cool. I'm like, dude, what an idiot. Anyhow,
You paid $10?
I'm not gonna get my money. Yeah, I gotta get my money back. Can you just sign it anyways? Who cares? So, and he's a really cool guy. He's a real like he's Hispanic, so he's really out for the Hispanic artists and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But
Jeez.
anyhow, I picked up my last thing I want to review today is Wonder Woman Dead Earth, and this is a Black Label DC book. Black
Mhm.
Label is their adult, mature label for comic books. This is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. And this book, my buddy Ben had put a picture and said that our buddy Kenny had said that this is one of the good books from, I think it came out in 2021, I think, or 2020. I don't remember. But I'm just getting to it now, and this book is really, really good. This book is the art, first of all, is very gritty, very, very gritty, but it works for this book. He had come out with another comic that's recently. It's called "To Do a Power Bomb." It's a wrestling comic, wrote like a WWF type wrestling. Really great book, but the art is really, really gritty, 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 and it's the story itself is where Wonder Woman wakes up. Years have passed. She doesn't know what happened. Her powers have weakened, and the world is destroyed. It's this Armageddon type thing. She wakes up under the basement, maybe the Bat Cave of the Wayne Manor, which is destroyed. She sees the first thing she sees is Batman laying there with like a hole in his chest, like all bones.
Oh,
You know,
jeez.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. And she's like, "What is going on, Wayne?" And throughout this whole book, she starts getting her memory back a little bit, and we figure out the way he writes is we get little bits and pieces in each issue. It's a
That's her memory.
yeah, her memory, her book. She starts getting her powers. We figure out some different kind of things. I don't know if it's true. They play around with some of the lore of Wonder Woman, where her bracelets were meant to contain her power.
Mhm.
I don't think that's what they're there for in the original Wonder Woman. I don't think that's that. But then in this comic,
No.
they contain her power, and we figure out his vision of how she was made. She was made from the dirt, from the mom, but the mother had this pretty cool because she had this she had a party with had invited all the gods, Zeus and everybody,
Mhm.
and she gave them something to drink, and they all passed out. They all got drunk, and they all passed out. And she took blood from every single god and put it into this to make Wonder Woman. So that's why she's like this powerful being, and she needed those bracelets. So that was pretty cool. I kind of like that. That was a pretty good take on her. And she meets up with these kids. They're going to this town, and they're being attacked by these monsters, and we find out that these monsters are actually other humans have been mutated. We find out that her island, there was a war. It was actually us against. We had sent bombs to where she lives, where her island is, and that's what started the whole war and stuff like that. And since they don't die, like her mother and the Amazons, I guess
Mhm.
they don't
Uh,
die, but they're just mutated into these monsters. So
uh,
we have all this crazy stuff. She talks to her mom, they start fighting, and it's just a really good back and forth action, remembering getting little bits and pieces in every book. We have Superman, big old hole in his chest, and we find out that like Wonder Woman was like, I don't want to give it away
mhm.
because it's a really good, like the last issues, the last 4 and 5 are so good. I
Mhm.
don't want to give it away. I do like one thing, and I'll spoil it. Like she uses this cool weapon where she takes Superman's spinal cord connected to his head and
Mhm.
uses it as like as like a bat, like a whipping thing. It's crazy. Dude, it's so cool. She writes Pegasus with it, and she's fighting all these demons. Dude, it's so good. You guys got to pick this up. Really good read. Really good art. The art, you might not like the art, but the art, it goes with this really gritty Armageddon type book. And I'm glad that I picked it up. And I think I would give this a 4.2, maybe a 4.1 on it. It's a really good book, guys. You guys should check it out. Very cool.
Oh, right on.
And then that was Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Jeez. Well, the way you make it sounds like she like basically killed everybody. But I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna. I don't want you to answer.
I'm not gonna say anything. You guys
Don't say
gotta read
anything.
it. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good stuff. And
The Amazon island is called Themyscira. Yeah. So.
very cool.
Oh man.
I actually wrote out a outro.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Wow.
before we do that, remind me that I
Yeah.
need to give you back your Fantastic Four, the full
Oh,
circle.
did you like it?
Oh yeah, the art for it is really good. I mean, I did like Alex Ross. I just didn't know that he did this.
Yeah, I thought it was everyone loved it. It was really hard to get, I guess, back then, but they made all the copies of it, and it's really good. I liked it.
Yeah, I need to get it back to you before I do something like spill coffee on it or something crazy. Oh, for
Yeah,
those of you who are listening but don't understand what I'm talking about, I had teased Adam before because he let me borrow one of his books. What was it? Brandon Henderson? Was that the writer?
Brandon Sanderson, yes, Warrior of
Sanderson.
Kings.
Yeah, he
Warrior of
let me
Kings.
borrow his book and he had it signed and everything. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really pretty. So I put it in a plastic bag because I didn't want to get it injured or anything like that while I was reading it. But then I was like, I teased him and I told him that I spilled something all over his book. And he was like, dude, are you serious? I promised him I would never do that again, but
Funny, dude. I was like, it wasn't funny at the time, but yeah, I was like, dang
yeah,
it.
no. Whenever is it that you loan something to me? I always, if anybody loans something to me, I usually put it in plastic or something so it doesn't take damage. Because
That's
you
cool.
never know. I mean, you're trying to do the right thing, and also I'm living with a wife who doesn't know what is valuable when it comes to comics and stuff. What if she
Right.
like puts a coffee mug on top of it or a soda, thinking it's no
No.
big deal? So
Yeah, I can see that. I
yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, so I put it in a plastic bag and she's like, "Is it one of those?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's one of those, babe. Don't put anything
Don't
on
touch it.
it. Don't even look at it wrong." Yeah. So, and
Very
especially with
cool,
our
man.
rain the way it's going right now. So,
Man, that rain came out of nowhere.
right? And it's still going. It won't stop.
God, I
It
have
can't
games
stop,
tomorrow.
won't stop.
Better stop tomorrow, man. I have games. I have basketball games tomorrow.
Oh
But
yeah, right. Yeah.
but anywho,
All right. Take us
let me
out.
let me do my outro and see if you like it, guys. We want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. We hope you share it with your friends. Please join our Discord where we are trying to grow it. You can find me on Twitter at @the_mem9, and you can find Hector at, go ahead and say it.
Oh, I thought that you were gonna read it out.
I
At
forgot
Sebastian.
it's Sebastian, right? At Sebastian.
At Sebastian.
At
Sebastian.
Yeah, you got to say it. I can't talk.
Yeah.
And so,
Sebastian is a angel.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Until next time, you guys keep on reading, and we will see you next week. How'd you like it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
pretty good. We'll work on
Yeah.
it.
No, it's good. I don't see anything you need to change to it.
Very cool. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later.
All right, man. See you guys.
Alrighty.